throughout my experience in life and all that I've seen with human nature, that this is what I have seen, the patterns of life that I've seen going on. And so he speaks about what I want my audience to know early, before it gets late. Like, I want you to know this now so that you know what to look for. And that's always something good, to have someone with wisdom that you can say, okay, this is what I've seen, and I realize it's beneficial to you for you to know it now rather than later. Okay? All right. So the first thing that we learned about life, we learned that life is what? Futile. Remember that? Futile. Right? If you're taking notes, that's what you want to put. Life is futile. Okay? So when you open up your Bibles and you're on Ecclesiastes 1, verse 2, you see that your Bible says vanity, vanity, right? Vanity, vanity, or meaningless, meaningless, says the teacher. Utterly meaningless. Everything is meaningless. Remember that? And he's saying, in essence, pointless. Everything is pointless. Life is pointless. Not that it doesn't, not in a negative sense, like, what's the purpose of having life? But anybody remember what we said? Why he's saying it's pointless? Because you can't control it. That the more you try to control it, is the less out of control you become. Right? Amen. Put that in your notes. Right? The more you try to control, right, it's the less out of control you become. Life, or another way to say it, life is hard to handle. How many agree with that? Right? Life is hard to handle. It's hard to get your hands wrapped around life. Right? It's really hard to really put both hands on any situation and get control of it. All right? And then later on, we're going to be looking at that a little bit more. But immediately, you start seeing wisdom that we all can, if you live 5 years or 10 days in the land of living, you realize, man, life is really difficult to get a handle of. Okay? All right. So one of the things we learned, that life is fruitful. Okay? Then we went down to what do people gain from all their labors at which they toil under the sun. Okay? What do you gain from all your labors from which they gain under the sun? Anybody have the King James Version? Anybody have the King James Version that they want to read that verse number 3 for a second? Anybody? I see you have it up. Go ahead. Okay. That's what the next thing that he brings up, not merely time. It's another thing. Life. Where is the profit? Right? That's another thing he wants you to examine. Where's the profit in it? What are you getting out of all your work? Right? Where's the profit? We said it last week, what's remaining? If you're going to work towards something, you want to if you're toiling this hard under the sun, what profit? Where's the profit? And so the example was, look at your life, okay, and certain relationships, certain things that you do, I guess in evaluation, when you do evaluate cons, anybody do the cons? Pros, cons, and you're wondering, what profit? We boil it down when we Christian, we boil it down to two things where we put this line of demarcation, where we say, what does it profit a man? To gain the world. What's the profit? That's basically the same thing. Where's the profit? What are you willing to gain at the cost of your soul? And all of us, when we are evaluating life, we evaluate it with gain and losses. And hopefully whatever we're into or whatever we do, the profit will be more than the loss. He's saying, well, what profit is there? With me? Remember, this is all last week. What's left over? Is it sucking everything out of you? Right? The joy, the pleasure. What's left over? What endures? What remains? Remember the question that we asked? Remember the question I asked you? Probably not. You don't remember it. Right? Is there anything that will really minister continually to my needs? Like, is there something that I have in that will continually supplying my needs? Continually. Or do I need to look for something else? Is there a relationship, a commitment that supplies your needs? That supplies it to the highest good, that leaves you with a profit, that this is profitable to me. Does that make sense? Yes. If it doesn't make sense, say it don't make sense. Makes sense. You sure? You know your silence. Once your silence make me like, once they're not looking at me, I'm like, okay, are they understanding what I'm saying?
No, but we want to know if we should answer it or you're...
No, well, okay, no, that's something you none of the, you don't have to answer. Okay. I just want to make sure you understand the question I'm asking. Okay. That's what it is. Because I don't, most of the times when I'm throwing questions out there, I'm not looking for an answer. I just want to make sure that you understand the question. Oh. Okay?
That's what we're saying.
Oh, okay. So then you do one of these. Do one of these then that I know I can move on. All right? Because if I don't see you doing this, I'm going to figure out another way to explain it, and I'm going to keep trying to explain it till you get it. Because that's what I really want. At the end of the day, I'd rather stay on one point for you to get it than go to the next one. Because you're going to find the worth in it later on. Okay? What Solomon's trying to do is, at the end, he's trying to stack up all these things you got to answer. Is there something on earth under the sun that is profitable to you, that gives you back everything you need? Is there anything, remember, under the sun? Is there anything under the sun that supplies or leave you with a profit? Okay, that's so you don't have the answer. I see some already shaking your head already. Now, let's just cut to the chase. Can we just cut straight to it? Under the sun, is there anything under the sun that can supply and give you a profit? Not above the sun, under the sun. You know what that means? On earth. That's just another way of saying on earth. Is there anything on earth that you can toil in that you can leave with a profit? You can hold. Yeah, no, I'm not asking you for an answer. I just want you to think about it. In our travel, and you're going to find out. I mean, you sitting here. The reason why you're sitting here because you know the answer. Maybe. Okay. Is there anything that leaves you remaining? All right. Is there a profit left over? Everybody got this? I could erase it? Okay. Because remember about truth? We was talking about truth. You weigh it, you study it, and you arrange it. Okay, wisdom. That's what, all right, that's good. Let's go to the next verse. Let's go to the next. All right. Generations comes, generation comes, and generations go. But the earth remains forever. The sun rises and the sun sets and hurries back to where it rises. The wind blows to the south and turns to the north. Round and round it goes, ever returning on its course. All streams flow into the sea, yet the sea is never full. To the place the stream comes from, they return again. Okay? All things are wearisome, more than one can say. All right. That was a lot. That's it right there. Generations come. Generations go. All right? He is letting you know that humanity is here today, gone tomorrow. The only thing permanent is nature. Only thing permanent is nature. The sun will want to be here. And in ways, he's kind of saying it should be reversed. Why is humanity temporary and nature permanent? We should be here. All right? But he's letting you know, generations come, generations go. There's a limit to what you're going to know. There's a limit to what you're going to know. Because soon as you come in, you're going to be on your way out. Right? Second thing he's saying, that one of the things that we do in generations, any generation, that he's letting us know is that every generation has almost a problem with the one before, right? So one generation is like, man, these kids are rude today. These kids are so rude today, right? They're the worst things ever, right? Right? That's so terrible. And what he's saying, if you look back in time, the generation before this generation is saying the same thing about y'all. And the generation before that generation is saying the same thing about y'all. And the generation before that generation is saying the same thing about y'all. And my generation is going to say the same thing about that generation. And then your daughter generation is going to be saying about the generation. And the younger generation is saying, oh, those older people are out of touch. Right? Right? They're going to say, elder, he's out of touch. And then when you was younger, you told the same thing. He's out of touch. He's letting you know it's been happening forever. So what you saying now, what we say about the millennials, that's why I don't get into it. What they say about the millennials and the generation Z's and all that, what they're saying, oh, these millennials, they said it before them, and they're gonna say it to the next generation, and they're gonna say it to the next generation. So never get into arguments over which generation is the worst, because every generation believes that the next one behind is worse. And on the flip side, young people, y'all will say that person is out of touch. Right? The older people is out of touch. They have nothing going on. And it's the same thing over and over again. With me so far? He says, so what he's saying, look at nature. Look at nature. That's what he's saying. Look at nature. Nature is telling you something. Nature is telling you something. Nature is telling you everything runs in cycles. Ooh. Come on, don't get no. Work with me. There you go. Thank you. All right. Let's write a little bit. Because this is important. Let me fix this properly. All right. Sun rises to the east. Sun runs back. He says the sun does the same thing every day. The sun rises in the east, sets in the west, and runs back and does the same thing over and over again. Every single day. The ocean, same things over time. The ocean been running into, lakes been running into oceans from the beginning of time. It's been doing the same thing over and over from the beginning of time. Over and over again. There is a never ending Come on, stop being mean. Don't be mean. Stop trying to sabotage me. All right? Yeah, draw that on your piece of paper. Draw this little arrows. Thank you. Because we're going to stop here for a second. All right? Yeah. Does that look neat? How's my artwork? How it look? How it look? Pretty bad? Looks good? Thank you. Thank you, Elder. All right. Make sure you you could draw yours a little neater than mine. Because this is... Now, if you take this just for this, this is... The key of life is right here. Right? And now you're like, what? Yes. It's everything you need to know about life is right here. Okay. Now, one of the things what the Bible tells you, there's nothing new under the sun. You heard that before. Okay? So, it's two ways. We talk about cycles, all right? Right? And then we call linear. Right? That we're going to be in school for a little bit. Right? Life is cycle. You know what linear is? Straight. Okay. Life is not this. Life is not linear. You know why life is not linear? Because at every particular point, there's something new happening. Like this point, never been here yet. So there's something new all the time. If it's linear. If life is going this way, that means there's no looking back. Everything is future. There's nothing you can look back to as far as history. It's always moving forward. So linear always sees something new. With me so far? If you're not, say I don't understand. Linear. Linear mean on the line. Meaning life, we think life is on the line like it's a straight line. But it's not. What the Bible's saying is what was will be again. With me so far? Shake your hand if you're not. I could do it, stay a little bit more here. Does that make sense? So there's nothing, in linear, there's always something new. There's something you never experienced before. If it's cycles, it's been here before. What he's saying, what has been will continue to be. Generations after generations after generation, we're going to go through the same cycles, just different eras, different times. With me so far? Yes or no? Yes. Okay. Why is that important? Why is that important? Why is that important? Why do you think that's important to know that life is? Which would let me ask you, which would you prefer? Being like everything new? Like every point in your life something new? Like that sounds exciting, right? Or cycles. We don't like hearing that. Repetitive. You prefer cycles? Who want linear? Everything new. Right? Now, let's talk about how scary linear is. There's nothing in this, in your history, because they say history is a good predictor of the future. We look at history to inform us what's next. Here, you don't know what's next because it's new. If every point in your life there's something new, you don't really know what to expect. You don't know how to brace for it. You don't know how to handle it. Well, if it's new, you've never been there before. So it's a new experience. This is predictable. This is what he's trying to say. Since you can't control it, since you can't control life, come on, since you can't control life, what you got to do? Since you can't control it, think about it. Since you can't control life, you manage the changing. You can anticipate the change. I can't control it, but now I can know how to manage change because I've seen it before. Also, if you know that it's a cycle, life is so much easier to deal with. Second thing he's saying, why are you so surprised? When it's been there all the time. You'll be always surprised here. You can't be surprised here. But we are. Why is that?
Repetitive.
Life is repetitive. Life is repetitive, right? Life is repetitive. Come on, think. If we know life runs in cycles, nothing is permanent, nothing lasts forever, right? If we know that, then we know how to really enjoy life. No, you don't. You want to enjoy it. Go ahead, tell me why.
I think that's the control aspect. I think that's the caveat.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's that,
Mm-hmm.
I don't think we appreciate it enough to where we are able to enjoy it. Because even though it's that, and you can sort of, like you said, you can quote unquote manage that, it still quote unquote happens, and it's still happening.
Mm-hmm.
And as it happens, you still may not. It's interesting because the more you talk about it, the more it actually seems like it's a hybrid of both.
Mm-hmm. What? Linear?
And cycles.
Actually, it's all linear. There's no history.
But if you think of the way the days move,
Mm-hmm.
right? You're right. Life may move in cycles, but our days are linear.
Yeah, we are counting them, but the action of the days are the same thing.
100%.
Do me a favor. Let's do it this quick. Thank you, Mr. Keith. You open it up. Write down what you do. Write down your schedule for the day. What you do?
One day.
What's one day? What your day look like? What your day look like? What your day look like? Let's say your day started up at 8 o'clock. Do me a favor. Just thought of it. Give me like 3 of these circles. Right? Let's do a work one. Let's do another one. Home. All right. Let's do home. All right. We could do another one, right, at different points. We have church too. And you go on, if you want to challenge yourself, do an emotional one. Let's put emote. If you really want to, do another one. Do a relationship one. So, all right, yeah. Now, when you're doing that, what you do at 8 o'clock? 8 o'clock, what you do? Check in at work. Every 8 o'clock. What you do at 12? Okay. Okay, well, what you do at 12 o'clock on your job? What time you eat? What time you leave?
5.
What time you get home?
Like 5:30.
5:30. Say, what time you eat dinner? Yeah. What time you eat dinner? 7? Typically 7. What you do Saturday?
Wake up at like 10.
Wake up at 10. What do you do at like 3?
It depends.
Do you see what's going on now? Different in, but what are your options? You have like 3? Yeah. Okay. Do you see what I'm saying? That's what he's trying to establish. Different day, same cycle.
Same thing.
Same cycle. Home, church, work. Challenge yourself. Emotional cycles. Are you going through the same patterns over and over again? Relational cycle. Challenge yourself. I had to do it. And I did the same thing. Because you fall into a predictable cycle day after day until we dead. Scary, ain't it?
Unless you become deliberate, like where you're deliberately trying to.
And not fall into a victim of a pattern.
Yes.
Same thing about the people we entertain. It wants you to pay attention to history because history is teaching you something. He's a wise man. I'm telling you, this guy had a whole bunch of things he wants to talk about what we do right now. Over and over. And if you really want to confront who you are, look at your patterns. What you like and what you hate. And you will see that you go through the same. And then you can predict your down moments. You can. You feel it coming. It's not new. Old problems in a new day. That's what he's trying to establish. Under the sun. All of this. Remember, I didn't include God yet. Right? Because that's above the sun. I'm talking about just straight under the sun talk. We're all doing under the sun. Look at your patterns Monday through Sunday. They match up. You've been probably doing the same thing.
Over and over again.
Same time, over and over, same thing, same emotions, same relational, same church, same home. You can count the moments where you can feel this is coming. This is not a new experience for me. At whatever time of the day, 1:30, I'm going to lunch. 12 o'clock, I'm going to think about lunch. And your mind is going to remind you it's 12:30, think about lunch. Because now your body has trained or conditioned itself to a cycle. He says this cycle been happening from the beginning of time.
Nothing new under the sun.
Nothing new under the sun. Let's keep going. All right. Verse number. All things. It's never full. Okay. Verse 7. All streams flow into the sea, yet it's never full. To place the streams come from, they are returning again. All things are wearisome, restless, more than they can. The eyes never have enough. The ears never hear enough. So there is a cycle that's going on in life, but we're never satisfied because we're always looking for something else. And as soon as our eyes see enough of something, it wants something new. As soon as we get enough with our eyes, we want to look at something else. As soon as we hear enough, we want to hear something else. Just like the sea, we're never satisfied. We're always searching for the next thing, and the next thing is the same old things. You're always looking for the next thing. And TV shows, all our devices, all the devices we want to look for something that's next, that's new. It's been here before. We've been doing it. Now we have it at the control in our hands. But if it was books, whatever it is, it's been going on from the beginning of time. We are never full. We always want more. Always want something new. But here's what he says, the reason why. We're never satisfied. You know that. We are never satisfied. Verse number 11. The reason why no one remembers the former generation. And even those yet to come, and will not be remember those that who follow. The reason why we think there's something new is because we choose to forget. It's been before. But our memory is faulty, so we treat it like it's new, but it's not. It's old. We choose to forget things. That's what he's trying to say. The reason why we treat things like it's new is because we forget. You ever had somebody with, like, you see this repetitive behavior and you see it, but we pretend like we did, some reason why our minds block it out. And then when it finally hits, we realize, man, this wasn't new. I've been seeing this pattern of behavior. What you said? Deja vu. And you have deja vu moments like, I felt this before, because you have. I've been in this situation before. And your body is reminding you, you had this emotion before. I feel like this. Man, I feel like this happened before. And these deja vu moments is because it's repetitive. It ain't new. You experience it sometime or another, and your mind is trying to bring it back to you, and it feels almost deja vu-ish, but it's happened before. That's where we get our instinct. And when we get this discernment, sometimes you ever feel your gut is like, man, because you've been in experience like that before. Maybe different characters, different actors, different people, different place, but it's a old experience in a new day. And so your body is trying to let you know you've been here before. It's new, but I've been here. But our memories, what he's trying to say, if you look history and you look into history, you will see the same things happening over and over. But we choose sometimes to forget. Like the whole, let's go politics, let's do Trump. There's another person that's been like that before. It has. The reason why we want it to be a new experience is because we all say, no, this is the worst. And then 5 years from now, when something else pops up, we're going to be like, now this is the worst. But we choose not to look at history to find out it's been there. Hitler's been around too. He's been around. You understand what I'm saying? We all think that there's something. Our bodies want something new. Our eyes want something new. We are longing for something new. We are never satisfied. That's another thing you put in. You are never satisfied. You are constantly looking for something to satisfy this unquenchable hunger for newness. That's why I'm glad you raised your hand for linear, because that's what you want. You crave something new. And you're always in search for it. We all do. hoping to find what we're looking for in something new until we get there and be like, this is the same thing.
But you're gonna go through that because of even like what they call like in business, they call like the life cycle of an organization.
Yes.
So like today it's new, then it grows,
Yes.
it matures, it stabilizes,
Yes.
it becomes saturated.
Yes.
Then it feels like whole.
Yes.
Quote unquote reinvent yourself.
Yes.
And start the cycle.
Yes.
Further down the line.
Can I say yes one more time? I said yes. And so if you know that, you know how to handle life.
I think that's where the challenge is.
That's the challenge. You know the cycle. You can't control it, but it's how you handle the change. It's the same thing. Oh, I start a new job. It's exciting. You're there for 3 months and all of a sudden it's the best thing in the world. When you get, it's the best job in the world. After 2 years, 3 years, it's become the same old thing. And we're looking outside the window for something else. And what he's trying to say, you got to understand this insatiable hunger for something new will keep you looking for things constantly, and you'll never be satisfied. Wait, what? Why?
Even with linear, wouldn't be satisfied.
Linear. There's always something new. There's always something new in linear. But he's letting you know life is not linear. Life is not linear. What has been,
We can't change it.
you can't. That's the way he set. That's the way God set life. You know why? If you had like this, you'll be out of control. As much as everybody in here may want linear, you'll be so out of control. You would have no idea how to handle life if something was new. If something was new every single day, how do you handle something new every day? Oh, see, you want it sometimes. No, you want it linear. That means when you wake up, something different is going to happen every single day. How would you handle it?
No, I couldn't handle that.
No, nobody in here can handle something new happening every single day. We become okay. But then we'll talk about that. You like change. You like change. Remember that. No, that's good to know. Honestly, that's good to know because that's helpful. And when I'm talking about your time, your profits, when you start examining yourself, you like change, but how much time are you putting in that change that you want? See? That's what I'm saying, why it's important. Everybody wants something new, right? You want it to be new. How much time or how much effort are you putting in for something new? That's the question. That's why I asked Christy when she was like, I know what I do on Saturdays, but it's probably 3 options she had. She's not going to go out I'm just going to go to the zoo. Is that one of your plans? No. We crave new, but we don't really want to put the action in for the new. No? Go ahead.
And granted, it's coming from his perspective.
Yes, his perspective.
Because his perspective, in fairness,
Yes.
is like you said, he's lived.
Yeah, go ahead. Keep going. You right what I'm about to say. Go ahead.
Because you're right. Like when you're just starting out,
Yes.
you crave new.
Yes.
And I always tell people this joke. Like when I first graduated undergrad, I tell people like you could have called me at 10:45 p.m. And say let's go do something at 11 o'clock. I'm fully dressed, in
Ready.
the car, ready to go meet you. I tell people today, like seriously, don't call me after like 8 o'clock.
Right. It happens.
I'm like, you want to do something on Saturday? We got to plan it. Like,
Yes.
3 months in advance.
Right.
I don't have that much leeway anymore. But that's because, we're older now with more responsibility.
Right.
Kind of like you said, like where he is. So and then you're right, when you start to speak of from his perspective, like now I'm relating to it from the standpoint of like, that's so real. When people are like, oh my God, like this new thing opened up like they have this new restaurant, I want to try this, like, go ahead, let me know how it
Right.
works. Like, how new could it really be? It's a restaurant.
And remember what he's doing. He is reminding you as somebody old that's seen life. I don't want you. Maybe he's trying to let you know, under the sun, you're going to be chasing a lot. You're never going to be satisfied. Right? Now, I'm extracting my own information from it too. Stephen, remember your patterns. Look at your patterns that you're developing. Are they all good? Right? He's also, from his perspective, we can develop some unhealthy cycles. Because I'm extracting my own, for me, when I read, for me, am I doing the same things, but are those things healthy? Am I becoming too predictable? Make sense? And life enjoyment, maybe that's why there's not a level of enjoyment, I think, because I'm so predictable. Right? My wife said the other day, "You're boring." Right? I didn't take offense to it, but I understand because I know my pattern. No, well, my pattern is home, work out, study. On my computer. People that go out with people that went away with me, right? The same thing. I have fun a little bit and then study.
No joy.
Right? And that it's become a pattern. Now I can develop a pattern of something way more unhealthy. And now it becomes difficult to break that unhealthy pattern. Even the people that, again, I'll go back to the people that we have in our lives that we invite in, if we take a second and view their pattern. Before we invite them into our pattern, because sometimes they don't match up. Because history is telling you, if we did a little research, history would tell you they do the same thing. But our memories wants to forget that they did the same things over, and all of a sudden they're brand new. No. Most times, people doing something over and over, that's who they are. That's who they are. Huh? It is. That's who they are, right? And you got to understand, if you're going to be or work with anyone, you got to take in consideration how long they've been doing it. Because they've been doing that 10. Now remember, I'm not talking. This is under the sun. Of course, with Christ breaks every pattern. Okay, so that's obvious. But I'm leaving that on. I'm setting that aside for a second, okay? Because that's towards the end. There's always newness with Christ. But setting that aside, part of the topic is what I said on Sunday with the patterns that when Christ met them working and all that kind of stuff. If somebody's been doing something, you're talking about 30 years, 10 years of a pattern that's unhealthy. 5 years of a pattern that's unhealthy, and you walk into their life and thinking that you're going to disrupt that pattern, one thing's going to happen, right? Is either you're going to leave or you're going to get swept up in this same cycle. Right? Or it might be something great. Let's not even make it unhealthy. It might be something good. You can step in something where you get caught up in something, a good cycle. But what I'm saying to you is that you can look at it before you step in it, because most of us do the same thing every single day. We don't want to be confronted by it. But when you sit down and work out your schedule, most of you in here are doing the same thing every single day. There's absolutely nothing, no surprises in your schedule. And sometimes when surprises do come in your schedule, you'll be like, oh my God. Right? All right. We didn't get to the end. Let's finish this out. Good so far, right? He addresses a whole bunch of different things, and we'll get to it. Okay, so we talked about memory. So you realize no one remembers the former generations, right? No one remembers the former generations. Even those yet to come will not remember by those who follow them. Even the ones that's on the way will not be remembered by those that's following. We tend, the people that's coming in tend to forget their predecessors. Yeah, we come in with this grand new idea, right? Oh, I want to change it, and I realize your predecessors before you, the ones before you, was doing the same kind of thing. And there's a lot of, if we look up and research, there's a lot of truth and wisdom before us. Always. Right? The deacons, the evangelists, the elders, there's tons of wisdom if we reach out and connect that you have. Right? All right. Okay, and we'll make this simple. Ayah 12. I, the teacher, was king over Israel and Jerusalem. I applied my mind to study, explore wisdom, and everything. Here he goes, he's letting you know what I've done. I applied my mind to study and explore it. I searched out, I studied everything in Jerusalem, right? What was heavy, what a heavy burden has laid on mankind. Before I do this, maybe for homework. If you look at First Kings 3, 1 to 15. 1 Kings 3, 1 to 15. We could do it quick. 10 minutes? Finish in 10 minutes? Yes or no? Okay. 1 Kings, let's just finish this tonight. 1 Kings 3, 1 to 15, but let's start around the fifth verse. This is Solomon, 1 Kings 3, 1 to 15, but we can start around the fifth verse. Solomon is coming in to lead, right? He's taking over, right? Okay. Let me point it out. Let me get my Bible open. Okay, 1 Kings 3. All right. So we can start at the fifth verse. Gibeon, the Lord appeared to Solomon during the night in a dream, and God said, ask for whatever you want. Solomon answered, you have shown great kindness to your servant, my father David, because he is faithful. He is faithful to you in righteousness and upright in heart. You have continued his great kindness to him. You continued this great kindness to him and has given him a son to sit on his throne this very day. Now, Lord, my God, you have made your servant king in the place of my father David, but I'm only a little child, right? I do not know how to carry out my duties. Your servant is here among the people who you have chosen, a great people, too numerous to count or number. So give your servant a discerning heart to govern your people and distinguish between right and wrong, for who is able to govern this great people of yours? And the Lord was pleased that Solomon had asked this. So God said to him, since you have asked for this and not for a lifelong wealth for yourself, nor ask for death. You didn't ask for wealth for yourself or death for your enemies. But for discerning in administrating justice, I will give it to you. I will give you a wise, discerning heart. We did speak about that, Sister Chrissy and I. That's probably the next thing we'll talk about discernment, so that there will never be anyone like you, nor will there ever be. Moreover, I will give you what you have not asked for. Because you asked me for something, I'm going to give you what you didn't. Right? I'm going to both wealth and honor, so that in your lifetime you have no equal. And if you walk in obedience to me and keep my decrees and my commandments as David your father did, I will give you a long life. Then Solomon awoke, and he realized had been a dream. He returned to Jerusalem, stood before the ark of the Lord, covenant, and sacrificed a burnt offering and fellowship and offerings, then gave a feast for all his court. Okay, he asked God, it's a lot of people. I'm young, can't do this. He was honest. Be honest. Can't stress it enough. I know sometimes we get new duties and whatnot, and we think, yeah, I'm the man. He was like, listen, I'm young. I can't handle this. Here's what I need. I need a discerning. I need wisdom to discern. Your Bible says good from evil. You know why he wants to discern good from evil? Because evil could look good.
So true.
Evil is cute.
Very cute.
Right? Sometimes we make evil out to be black and white. Evil ain't just the black and that's obvious. Discernment it's not obvious. It's not clear. Because some things could feel so right and be so evil. You with me? The reason why it can feel so right is because it's been a pattern. For so long, you made it true even though it's a lie.
Wow.
And the wisdom is, give me discernment so that I can discern from evil what's good. That is a prayer that needs to be injected more than wealth, homes. Lord, give me discernment. Give me wisdom so I can tell the difference between what's good and what's evil, because in my natural eyes, trust me, I'm telling you, evil can look very good, scrumptious, delicious. Because if your eyes, Sunday I said perspective, we can have a pattern of seeing things too. That I've got used to seeing things, and my used to seeing things is a form of blindness too. Because I've been seeing it a certain way for so long, I don't see other things. I'm so locked in one way, that's a form of blindness. Doing it one way for a long time, you don't see that there's other options. So he says, listen, there's a lot of people. This is what Solomon saying. Listen, there's a lot of people out there. I'm too young. I have none. So give me the discernment. Give me this wisdom. And God says, because you asked for that, I'm going to give you what you didn't even ask. That's a blessing in all by itself. Okay, let's get back to what we had to talk about. All right. So the reason why I'm saying this is that he had wisdom in verse number 12. Let's go back to Ecclesiastes. I applied my mind and study. What a heavy burden is all mankind. I've seen all things that were done under the sun, and all of them are meaningless. I've chased in the wind. He's seen everything, but he realized, man, with all this wisdom, I'm still feeling like I'm just chasing nothing. There's no meaning. Here's what I learned. What is crooked cannot be made straight. He's saying there's some things in life can't be changed. And you know why it's frustrating? Why do you think it's frustrating? With all the wisdom you have, you can't fix what's broken. What a burden. With all this wisdom, that I can't come up with an answer to fix this. What a weight. That's what he's trying to say. What a weight. Look, I have increased in wisdom. Verse number 16. I have increased in wisdom more than anyone who has ruled over Jerusalem before me. I've experienced much wisdom and knowledge. Then I applied myself to understanding of wisdom and also madness and folly. But I learned this. That too. All that studying that I've been chasing is like chasing wind. For here's why. For with much wisdom comes much sorrow. More knowledge, more grief. The more you know, you realize the more you can't change. You know, that's why some people say ignorance is bliss. Because I don't know. And I don't want to know. Because when you get all this wisdom and you still can't do anything. You got all this wisdom and you still can't get somebody out of that cycle. You got all this smarts. Life telling you, you ain't that smart. You don't have an answer for everything. Some things are just heavier than what you learn. And it can make you go crazy. Tell the truth. Like you see the answer is so simple. You see it's not. But then you say, why you don't get it? One of the hardest things to get by somebody to see what they can't see. You see it, but they don't see it. No matter how much you try to explain it, yeah, I see one thing. For so much wisdom comes so much sorrow. Because I know more. I know so much more, and it's painful. Right? The more information you get, sometimes the more information you get, it's the sadder you become. Huh? Especially, oh my Lord, say that, say it especially with all that wisdom and you can't change where you are. Nothing is as frustrating as that. You know this is better. And you know, and you walk into it and you swept up in this cycle. Because what it feels like, what's crooked, can't be straightened.
Great wisdom, great grief.
I feel like I'm chasing the wind. Trying to get a hold of the handle and I can't. All right. We'll pause here. Pick it up next week. Good one? Hopefully. Again, the point of this, if you know the pattern, don't be surprised. Right? Since you can't control it, right? Anticipate change. Manage the change. What's that serenity prayer? Serenity prayer? Give me the wisdom to accept
Wisdom to know the difference.
and the wisdom to know, because it can be very frustrating. And the courage to change those that you can.
I was reading it today.
Oh yeah. But in all, this is almost what Solomon is saying. Like, life is so futile, so pointless, that you can try to do things and grab hold of something that's out of your hand. So, since it's a pattern, understand what you can. Understand the changes. But I, as I always do, not about anybody. Look at you. What patterns are you having? Because some of us got some patterns, you know. And our unhappiness is tied to our patterns. I believe. All right? Examine them. Do it when you go home. Do it when you go home. Do your work. Do your home. Do your emotional pattern, your church pattern, your relational pattern. Money pattern too. We all have patterns.
So, in essence,
Mm-hmm.
the cycle
Mm-hmm.
is a good thing, is it?
It is. But remember, he's talking about under the sun. So remember, when put this in context, he's saying under the sun. Because at the end, he's going to tell you, but I can't tell you right.
Okay.
I mean, we can still go through it. At the end, he's going to tell you, I've chased all this under the sun, and I realize there's only one thing I need to do, chase God.
Chase God. That's right.
I've learned that I got to put my trust in not under the sun, but above the sun. That's the conclusion. But we didn't want to, I didn't want to get to that. That's the whole giving the punchline already. Although, living with Christ, you realize ain't nothing in this life you can get a grip on. The only one.
Everything.
Yeah, okay. But that was what, you see, you're trying to get to the end of the story. You're the type.
Well, you could go in.
Yeah, you can, because there's still other issues about life, about pleasures and stuff. You're the type that want to look at the back of the book for the answers, for the right thing. You want to turn right to the back and get the answers. Yes, but I think what he's trying to give us is wisdom. No matter if it's 50 years ago, 2,000 years ago, wisdom is wisdom. And who better not to learn from than Solomon again? All right?
I never see it like that.
Oh, you didn't? Oh,
This is deep.
yeah.
Well,
As
you
here I
want
am
something new
looking-
every day.
Every day was something new.
Oh, but and think about it. You didn't, and Ecclesiastes has been sitting there for a long time.
I will read it over and over.
Or read it over and over and over and over.
You?
But it's one of the things when you sit down and you start really like looking at, come on, let's stand up. When you sit down and start studying these things, what they meant and what they implied in context, it's a lot he has to say.
One verse and I'll tell somebody again come and preach.
That's right. All right? Let's pray. Lord, we thank you again. Another night spent in your house, in your honor. Help us, dear Lord, to keep us in our right minds, and let us keep pushing towards forming. Lord, we thank you.